Today I'm going to break down how I made my flip of Do You by Cure97. I started by changing the BPM to 129, then I added a ducker just so I can isolate the kick and the clap. And the end is something in between here as well. So if I demonstrate that now with my ducker, which is basically just a mute switch for this balance that I made that is, at 0. So that whenever it's on, it's cut. And that created this file right here. And then using Edison, I isolated the frequencies. First I cut everything below 100. Then I took the mids and took everything above 2K. Here's the lows, the mids, the highs. And that leaves you here. We can see actually what you need. For the lows, you really only need the lows of the kick. Nothing else. For the mids, you just need very short. And you got the highs. I put them into channels where I basically faded them down until I basically got them where I wanted to. If I faded them down a lot, it's because I wanted to add all the layers to it. So as you can hear here, the clap's really low. But now I got a kick, a hat, and a clap from the original file. So now I'm just organizing them into drum pattern. Adding a sidechain and cutting the hats. So I'm adding 2 hats here, adding a clap here, and adding some percussions here. And that is basically the drums. Very simple, but very effective. I don't want to make it more complicated because if you remember, the original song has a lot of intricate drum rolls and fills and really amazing sounds already. And that was the reason why I really wanted to flip this. I didn't need to add a lot of drums. So now we are in the file of the flip. And as you can see, I tried to make it really organized. I'm usually not like this. I used the color scheme, black and pink, which, by the way, you can't usually get these colors on Fruity Loops. But you have hex code here. And if you actually search up the hex code for like black, you can paste it in there and it goes to an illegal value, basically. Same goes with the pink. I don't think you can usually take that color. So starting from the beginning, I actually just swooped reverse something into the opening. Now let me just break down what I did to the file itself. As you can see, the ducker is back here to get rid of any kick and claps and other things that I didn't really want to hear. Obviously, these are different throughout the track. And this pacemaker is basically just what I call my Fruity Convolve. So if you go on here, there's a Fruity Convolver. Basically just cutting the impact and cutting the attack. And the parametric is just because I cannot pronounce parametric usually. So I'm just basically making it sound like a laser. This is modulating the lowest frequency, I think. So as you can see, it goes up and down. And the mute and solo is obviously just turning it off and on. What I found is that even if your parametrics EQs aren't doing anything, if they're on, they somehow affect the sound. And I don't want it to if I'm not using it. Then the bass killer. Obviously, I went a bit overboard with the naming, but I was just having fun. This project was so fun to do. So basically the bass killer, as far as I know, is basically what it says. Gets rid of the bass. This is probably it. Because I wanted to add my own bass line. But I didn't always want to. Like there's parts where I kept the original bass in. And then the bass feeder is exactly what it says. It adds more bass. Which is kind of counterintuitive. But I had to balance it. This is kind of like a mixing thing. It's actually the other way around. So when it's on, it's not having a lot of bass, and when it's off, it's feeding the bass back, if that makes any sense. Because for this breakdown part, if you hear it, I really wanted the bass. Cure is this Reese, basically, that I used for this one hit here. This is something I got from the sample pack of Sick Rate and Sick Essentials 2. Shameless promo. This pack is so good. I bought it. It is just absolutely sick. I didn't edit this sound whatsoever. I added some effects to it, obviously. The OTT and everything, so little convolve. And then the kicks come in with the reverse kick. Really good effect. Now 90 is a bass attack. A really strong... I don't really know how to explain it. It's very distorted, basically. It's a square wave. And modulated a little bit with the pitch. A lot of release and a lot of distortion. And a filter. And with a really strong sub, which is again from the Sick Rate and Sick sample pack. I mean, preset pack. I mean, really, it's a sub. You can make your own sub, but it's just... I had it, so it was clear and clean. Now, Drug from God, which is a song by Chris Lake and NPC, I believe. It's just a choir shot. Yeah, it's just a choir shot. And then I think I just found that on Splice and went with it. So you can see the drums are basically exactly like what they were. I'm adding this crowd noise from Kashmir just to fill up the space because I really liked it. And an impact where I'm only using the mid frequencies, no highs, no lows. I called it low because initially I was going to use the lows, but there's a lot of lows here already. So I think the key here, because there's a lot of bongos going on that sound so amazing that, you know, I didn't want to put any impact over that, blocking that. But so it was really just background fill, basically. Coming of Age is basically the pre-stage of 7, which I'm going to go into 7 right now. Basically, it's the same as 7, but without the sub, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to play 7 right now. Basically, it's the same sound from 90, but in just a different order. Because I think the melody of this part, this drop is different as well. And then adding the sub to that. Together with the original file. With the drums now. If you're curious, the kick Ghosts, it's just the original kick, but then lowered in volume and using this cut thing. As you can see, I'm using Cure again just to get a pre-drop shot, basically. Now we get on to this part with the bass. MARIGOLD, it's an inside joke from an old friend of mine. So as you can see, I'm actually using the Cure here now to make this, to make like a kind of Reese drop. And it's quite subtle, not when you solo it, but in the mix it's quite subtle. And I think that's the key, because this part of the drop, this drop is quite intense already. So basically just layering. And then MARIGOLD 2 is just the same, but in a different... I think it's going up, and this one's going from down, up to down. And as you can see here, what I added is some tonal percussions from that sample pack from Sick Rate and Sick. And then I got this new hat coming in to get out the same impact from before. A hip-hop kick that is really punchy. And some noise from Boys Noise. So this is a different drop again, but the same sound, but in different pattern to follow the 808 from before. And then, you know, the same drums as before. And then a nice fade out till the end. Other than that, the track is basically the same. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. And definitely do check out the 97 EP that released a little while ago, actually. I thought it just released, but it released a little while ago. 97 is truly, I think, still an underrated artist. Do go check him out. He makes the coolest dubstep and trap stuff. Anyway, guys, peace.